So what do you do when the parts you're testing are no longer available in the store? Well, you got to go out and 3D print it. That's today's project. I'm Skip Jeffries, and today's dilemma kind of kept me up late night. I was working on the print design for this thing here, but it's the actual wheel hub or wheel assembly from the Kobalt lawnmower that I had. I actually found the old one, and luckily that cap was still in it. So yeah, I was up half the night trying to figure out how to get this thing 3D printed, and I got most of it done last night, but it got late. It was almost midnight, so I mean, it was, I'd say maybe 2 hours worth of work. So, and that's kind of typical on some of these weird design layout type deal. I mean, you've got insets and everything else with this thing, and it's just a weird thing. So I mean, basically what I start with every 3D print, I put everything on paper first so I can get my measurements down, and then kind of do my widths and thicknesses. As you can see here, it's kind of rough and crude. I'm no artist here, but the drawing here kind of gets the meat and potatoes that I need to actually do the 3D print. And it was interesting, a lot of the effects on it, and I'm gonna see if I can run you through it, because there's a lot of functions on FreeCAD, and they call it like polarizing, where you just draw, like I used it for the nubs here, or the cutouts, as you can see here. And you just do one, and then you kind of click in that area, hit the polarize button, and you could set the number of times. And knowing that these things are a perfect triangle, because that was the other thing I measured out too last night before I even got down on the pad, is like, okay, I can use the triangle feature in that system to actually lay a geometry line where I can line things up. And then the other issue, these pegs here that actually clip into the hub itself. And those things, I was able to use that polarization function on it a couple times. One for the main part of it, the stem, and then the hook, I had to go in and actually add the separate hook and then polarize it. So all in all, I think it turned out pretty good. We'll find out here. We'll go ahead and I'll run the print and get back with you guys later. Yeah, here's the part where it should get somewhat interesting. Let's see, hopefully it doesn't spaghetti out, because it didn't call for any type of supports. And maybe they will print on it, but I didn't see it in the show through when I was reviewing the print itself, and I probably should have verified more, but it looks like, yeah, it's printing the three little kick out things and the locking tab that goes into the hub. Now we'll just continue to watch and see where it goes from here. So yeah, just another one of those parts that you can no longer locate anymore, or they never made, or if they did make them, they just don't make them anymore. And I may have to go into Lowe's or Home Depot the next time and see what the newer lawnmowers have. They still have the same caps. It'll be interesting to see. So far it's looking pretty good. We'll see how it does with these overhangs. It does look like there's no supports on there, and it looks like there isn't much of I guess there was an angle on it. So hopefully that's enough to give me a pretty sharp edge. I don't say sharp edge, but respectable where it clips in. I mean, looking at that wheel hub, it doesn't look like it has to be anything fancy. It just needs to be able to click in. So I'm thinking this will work. We'll do the test bit, I guess, and find out for sure. But so far it's looking pretty good. Yeah, it looks like it finished up, so we'll let this bed cool down and we'll pull this apart and head into the garage and see if the test fit will work. Alrighty, back again. I just went ahead and just brought my whole kit in. My wife got me this for Christmas. It's kind of a handy kit. Trying to think of who makes it. Defy. It's a Concord. I think she ordered it off of Amazon, but it's a pretty good starter kit for anybody just starting off. It's got all your maintenance tools that you need to do for repairs on and maintenance on your printer itself, but it comes in handy. I mean, I like it because you've got a gauge in there, and it's pretty accurate, I guess. I've got one that I've always used, and I've compared it, and in a pinch, I'll always pull this one out because well, my battery died, and I haven't got replacement battery for the other one yet. But it seems to work pretty good. Can't complain. It's within the limitations that I have for my projects, but we're going to try to see if we can separate this thing a little bit cleaner.
And I probably should have did that from the get-go and try not to break anything in the process. But normally you can just pry these things off and there it goes. It'll just snap off and it should give you, and I broke it. Golly. So we may have to look at different materials. Sucks when that happens. But yeah, I also got a file set here that we can actually clean stuff up with too. But I mean, for print purposes, or for a part that you can't get anymore, if you can get it somewhat pretty close, and I mean, it looks pretty close. I mean, dimension-wise, it looks pretty good. I mean, the only thing I couldn't do on that one was do the little K, and that's just because of time. I didn't want to spend half the night wasting it on there, but pretty crappy that that tab broke, which, I mean, we could probably add a thicker support and beef it up, because I don't think there's anything that would keep it from, I guess you want a little bit of flex in there, but I guess that broke tab is, but it fits. I mean, you can see it's pretty functional, so I may reprint it with a different type of material, or I may even beef up this tab, but it just proves that, once again, a 3D printer can get you a part. I mean, is it an important part? Somewhat. I think the main function of this is probably to keep your bearings somewhat dry, or keep it from rusting out quicker. And I mean, to me, I think it's beneficial, and I'll probably go ahead and do a reprint on it. But just having those supports on there, you can tell it kind of jacks it up a little bit, but I think with a light sanding, you won't even tell. I mean, like I said, it's pretty close replica. I mean, I was surprised my marks were pretty close to almost on, and the tabs kind of came out where they're supposed to, except it's a mirror effect here, and I don't know if you can see it when it's lined up, but my tabs aren't quite where, they're almost opposite. So I must have been in somewhat of a haze last night when I put these holes in and designed the tabs, but it is what it is. But I thank you guys for watching. Alrighty, back at the desk. Gonna go ahead and kind of see if I could do a revamp on this thing, just add some beef up plates. I was playing with this further out in the garage, and I noticed that it snapped off pretty easy, all the rest of the 4 or 3 little pegs that hold it into place. And to me, there's got to be an easy, quick way to kind of add a little bit of support and still have some functionality to it. So I'm going to add probably just an inside layer here. And let's see what we can do here. Ideally, we want to go on this interior surface. And I've got a screenshot saving on my computer here, so we'll probably, the filming process, will flip between the 2 screens. So I know a lot of times you guys don't want to see my face anyway, so the power is in this part here. But I'm going to go ahead and see if we can add something to this to beef it up a little bit. And it just needs to be in that backside area. Because it catches in there. And I don't know. I'll have to grab that wheel and take another look. I'm going to pause things for a sec. Alright, so I'm back with this wheel again, and looking at it, looks like the only thing that should catch the lip is anything in front of that wheel. It looks like there's a space in there, so we should be able to add just a beef up real quick to this. We'll give it a go, do another print, and see how it works. I'm trying to think of what I can do to get this print going. For a beef up, we could probably, I would like to just add a circle around it. See if we can do another, maybe a sketch, a drawing. We may be able to just do a polar. So I had a feeling too, when I was looking at it, I was like, man, that looks like it would be a failure point on there. But let's see if we can just add a simple additive box on there. Okay, there it added. And today must be a crazy day because computer issues, I tell you folks. All right, we'll see if we can just bring down the size a little bit to something more manageable. I would say maybe a 4x4 square behind that. And I always like to give it a quick twirl to see where things lie. And this thing here doesn't have to be perfect. I think we may want to decrease that a little bit. I think that would be your, that one, yeah, the width. We'll go down to, we'll keep that one up. And let's see if we can suck it into the part itself. And that is lying on the x-axis, so hit our x direction and it should move it in. And I kind of like to do the flippy flips on this thing just to get a full 360 view of what's going on within the part. And the cool thing about this here, we can actually, how would you put it, do the polar on it, and it'd look pretty cool. I want to get the top view to see where that lies. Okay, so I think that one, our thickness is like a 4.2. Let's see if that made a difference there, just a tad bit. Maybe it was a 4.4. It was something odd. I'd left my notebook out in the garage. Kind of like have it somewhat match up. And two, I think it's sitting a little weird on there. Oh, well, it'd help if I would do the right one. Yeah, let me try adjusting this down a little bit here. Try this one here. 2. There we go. Now we're cooking with butter. Half the battle with this program too is just knowing which area you're at in regards to its positioning. And that should have solved that part of it. I'll give it a quick twisty here on the screen. I didn't want it to do that. Let's rotate it. There, that looks pretty good. And I'm wondering if we could, now it should not theoretically affect any of the flex. We may want to drop that height down a smidge, maybe a millimeter. And then I think we may try to put a chamfer on it. We'll go ahead and hit OK. And that looks like it'll beef it up. And then, like I was talking earlier, why is does it not just let me click on the box itself here? We'll go up and see if we can polar pattern that. And why did it clip off that one? And then we'll go down below. Hopefully it won't jack it up. And this thing's got a undo part there. It came back, so I just put in for 3 and then it counts, and it does a 360, which is kind of cool on it, and it pops up to where I had the other one. And we'll go ahead and hit OK on that. Then we'll try to make it somewhat pretty here. We might be able to see if we can do a chamfer on it and kind of slim it down. 2 millimeters looks good, and then we'll select the other edges here. Oops. Hit our select. And it does let you rotate and continue to grab too in this program, which is kind of cool, so you can get the right edge. And then just hit your OK, and it should chamfer the other sides, and it did. Let's see if we can get a good bird's eye view of it. And to me that looks pretty good, and we're gonna go with that. And I always like to save these under different versions, so hopefully that'll beef up that strap a little bit and not affect the overall performance of it. But I'm gonna go ahead and save that, save as hubcap, call it version 2. And if you do enough 3D printing, you're always going to have several variants. And I always like having the original in case you come back and this doesn't work out. We can come back to the original and add on to that versus trying to go back in and delete what we just did, which this part here shouldn't be too hard to delete. And realistically it isn't, but to me it just saves me about 10 minutes. And then we'll go in and see if we can highlight that, and we'll export it. And it comes up automatically on the screen here, our Kobalt hubcap V2 body, and just hit your save. And we'll go ahead and print that out, and I'll probably keep the printing off screen here because you guys really don't need to see that again. You've seen it once with the first one here, but I'll show you the finished product when I'm done. Alrighty, back again with the version 2 of it. Seems like that beefed it up quite a bit. We may not have the flexibility that we need to punch down into it, but we'll see if we can get this these things separated, or the support separated off this thing. See if we can get it a little bit cleaner than the last go around. Boy. Pocket knife might work a little bit better. There we go. It's breaking free. A little bit cleaner, hopefully. There we go. Functionality of it, I mean, looks pretty good. Did pretty good. I think the size and everything line up pretty good. That first gen slapped in the hole pretty good. But yeah, you guys take a look. We'll see if by adding that support it jacked anything up with the way it fits in there. But yeah, I had a feeling that may not be enough give to slide it in. Yeah, it fits. I mean, it's in there pretty good. I don't know if I'll get this one out of there or not, but I'm pretty happy with the print. But anyways, I want to thank you guys for watching.